Hello viewers, welcome to my channel. I'm Hashim Ali Khan. Now in this video I'm continuing the provisions regarding perquisites. The last video I have explained you in detail regarding the meaning of the term perquisites, what are the different types of perquisites and how to calculate the value of rent-free accommodation. The last video if you have watched, this is a continuation of the previous video. So my suggestion to you, always watch the video in continuity. Don't join in between and don't skip in between. If you want the complete command on the subject of income tax, watch all the videos. So I have uploaded so many videos on income tax. Go to the playlist of my channel, select the subject income tax 1 for the assessment year 2021 and watch the videos regarding introduction, in computation of income from salary, introduction part, and then this income from salary. So in this video, I'm going to explain you the other perquisites. So concession in rent. First, perquisite, which is taxable in the hands of all SSCs, I have explained in the previous video, called rent-free accommodation. The employer has provided an accommodation to the employee rent-free without charging any rent. A house is provided, a flat is provided like that. But now, after learning the provisions regarding rent-free accommodation, the next topic is concession in the matter of rent. That means employer is providing the accommodation to the employee at a concessional rent. If the employee has taken the flat, suppose the monthly rent is 30,000, but the employer is providing the same flat by charging only 5,000. He is charging only 5,000. So instead of 30,000, the employee pays only 5,000 to the employer. This is called concession in rent. Income Tax Act says it's a taxable perquisite in the hands of all employees. So how to calculate the value of the perquisite? Here it is given. The value of the perquisite is the amount of concession given by the given to the employee. It is calculated as follows. Concession in rent is equal to the value of rent-free accommodation. First of all, we treat the accommodation as rent-free and find out what is the value according to the provisions of Income Tax Act. We have already discussed in the previous chapter how to calculate the value of rent-free accommodation. So, take the value of rent-free accommodation minus actual rent paid by the employee. How much rent actually paid by the employee during the previous year? Example. According to the provisions of Income Tax Act, the value of rent-free accommodation is, let it be 2 lakh. 2 lakh rupees is the value of rent-free accommodation. But the employee has paid to the employer 50,000 for the whole year. The actual value of rent-free accommodation is 2 lakh. And the employee has paid to the employer 50,000. So 2 lakh minus 50,000, 1 lakh 50,000 is the value of the perquisite. This. Next one, insurance premium paid by the employer. Sometimes the insurance policy will be taken by the employee on his policy or his spouse policy, family members policy, but the employer has paid the premium. Employer has paid the premium. Then whatever premium paid and due, that is the value of the perquisite. The value of the perquisite is the actual amount of premium paid plus the premium due but not paid. That is the value of the perquisite. Now third one, any personal monetary obligation of the employee paid by the employer. There may be cases where it's a monetary obligation of the employee, but the obligation is paid by the employer. So what are the cases, what are the examples of the monetary obligation of the employee paid by the employer? Here one by one I have given. The value of the perquisite is the actual amount paid by the employer. Few examples are, employer pays club bills or personal expenses or personal obligation of the employee. Club. The employee has become a member of the club, but the club fees is paid by the employer. Similarly, hotel. The employee has taken the benefit from the hotel. That means the hotel bills are paid by the employer. That is called the personal obligation of the employee paid by the employer. Whatever employer has paid, that is the value of the perquisite. Next one is, if the employer pays or reimburses the school or college fees of the children, then it is perquisite taxable in all cases. See here, children education allowance is different. Allowance is the fixed monetary amount which is given every month to the employee. That is children education allowance. But sometimes the school fees or college fees is directly paid by the employer to the school or reimburses. That means employee has paid from his own pocket the school and college fees of the children, and these school and college fees are reimbursed by the employer. Then it's a taxable perquisite in the hands of all employees. Third one, if the employee employs the sweeper or gardener or any other servant, but the employer pays the salary, it's a taxable perquisite in all cases. Remember, very important provision. If a servant, if a watchman, servant or cook or sweeper, these are the maids which are appointed by the employee, but the employer has paid the salary. Employee has appointed, appointment has been made by the employee, but salary is paid by the employer. In that case, whatever salary paid by the employer, that is the value of the perquisite in the hands of the employee. Similarly, income tax or profession tax paid by the employer. Income tax or profession tax, it's an obligation of the employee, but sometimes it is paid by the employer. Then whatever paid by the employer, that is the value of the perquisite. Next one, electricity, water, gas bill of the domestic connection are in the name of the employee, but the bill is paid by the employer. In some cases, electricity, gas, water, the connection is in the name of the employee. That means electricity bill is in the name of the employee, gas bill is in the name of the employee, water bill is in the name of the employee, but the bill is paid by the employer. Then it's a taxable perquisite in the hands of all employees. The next one, over. In all the above cases, actual amount paid by the employee is the value of the perquisite. These are the examples I have given where it's an obligation of the employee, monetary of the obligation of the employee paid by the employer. It's taxable. Now, interest-free loan or concession in interest on loan. Sometimes the employer will give interest-free loan to the employee. It's a taxable perquisite. Sometimes concessional interest on loan that is given by the employer to the employee. It's a taxable perquisite. If the employee has taken the loan from bank, he has to pay the interest. Suppose the same loan is taken from the employer is not charging any interest. So it's a perquisite in the hands of the employer. Sometimes the employer charges the interest, but very nominal interest. That means the employee is getting concession in interest rate. That's a taxable perquisite. Then what are the rules under Income Tax Act? The loan may be given to the employee or family members. First point you have to remember, it is not necessary that loan should be given only to the employee. It may be given to the family members. It's a taxable perquisite. The value of the perquisite is equal to the interest charged by State Bank of India. In India, whatever is the rate of interest charged by State Bank of India SBI, that rate of interest is the value of the perquisite. Simple example. Suppose the SBI is charging 10% rate of interest. 10% rate of interest. Now the employer has given 1 lakh rupees loan to the employee without charging any interest. So Income Tax Act says what is the rate of interest charged by SBI? 10%. That 10% will apply on the loan. 1 lakh rupees is the loan. So 10% of 1 lakh, 10,000 is the value of the perquisite, taxable in the hands of the employee. Now, the rate of interest to be taken is the prevailing rate on the last day of the relevant previous year. So which rate of interest? Because the rate of interest may change from time to time. So Income Tax Act says take the rate of interest which is prevailing on the last date. Prevailing on the first day of the relevant previous year. Example, our current assessment year is 2020-21. 2021 is the current assessment year. Previous year is 1920. The previous year is 2019-20. The year begins from 1st April 2019 and ends on 31st March 2020. This is the previous year. 1920. The first day of the previous year is 1st April 2019. So what is the prevailing rate of interest by SBI on 1/4/2019? That we have to see. So here for our current assessment year 2021, the rate of interest charged by SBI are as follows. In examination, the rate of interest normally will be given. So the rate of interest will be serial number 127, purpose of loan, house loan. For house loan, the rate of interest is different for men and women. For men, it is 8.75%, for women 8.7%. For car loan, SBI is charging an interest of 9.7% for men, 9.65% for women. Similarly, two-wheeler loan. For two-wheeler loan, both same, 11.45% for men as well as women. Next is educational loan. There is a limit given for educational loan for men and women. If the loan is up to 7.5 lakh, 7,50,000 rupees, the rate of interest is 10.55% for boys and girls 10.05%. If the loan amount is more than 7.5 lakh, above 7.5 lakh, 10.8% for boys, 10.3% for girls. Then gold loan, 10.15% for both. Loan for study at AIMS or ISB or MDI, 9.05, 8.55. Personal loan, if check-off is given, 11.55, 12.05. If no check-off is given, then 12.05, 12.55. These are the different rates of interest given by SBI prevailing on the first day of the previous year, that is 1/4/2019. It is a simple interest on the maximum amount outstanding. So how to calculate the interest? Simple interest you have to apply, and this interest will be applied on the outstanding amount, not on the total loan amount taken. After taking the loan, the employee may have repaid some part of the loan. For example, if the loan is taken for 10 lakh rupees, out of 10 lakh rupees, he has already repaid 7 lakh rupees. So remaining 3 lakh rupees are outstanding. So interest will be calculated on the outstanding balance of 3 lakh. Now, if an employee has taken a loan for medical treatment in an approved hospital for the following disease, then it's a tax-free perquisite. Income Tax Act says, if an employee has taken a loan for medical treatment of himself or the family member, and this loan is taken for medical treatment in approved hospital. The Income Tax Act has given the list of approved hospital. So if an employee has taken a loan from the employer for medical treatment of himself or family member in an approved hospital for the following diseases, then it's a tax-free perquisite. It's a tax-free perquisite. So what are the diseases for which this will become a tax-free perquisite? Cancer, tuberculosis, TB, or AIDS, or ailment of disease of eye, ear, nose or throat which requires surgical operation. Apart from that, a number of other diseases are specified. I have given an example of first 3-4 diseases. Apart from that, a number of other diseases are given in the list. So if an employee has taken a loan for medical treatment in an approved hospital for any one of the specified disease, then it will become a tax-free perquisite, not taxable at all. Note, if an employee has taken loan or petty loan during the previous year from the employer aggregating 20,000, then it becomes a tax-free perquisite. Petty loan. The Income Tax Act has given a limit of 20,000. So if an employee has taken loan up to 20,000, any number of times, aggregating 20,000, so that will be tax-free perquisite. It will be taxable once the loan exceeds 20,000. Now, loan at concessional rate. Sometimes the employer will give the loan to the employee not interest-free, but the interest at a concessional rate. If the employee has taken the loan from bank, it would have been 15%, but the employer has given the loan at 5%. Concessional rate. So how to calculate the value of the perquisite here? If the employer provides a loan at concessional rate of interest, then the value of the perquisite is value of perk is equal to perquisite value of interest free loan. Suppose we have to treat that loan is interest free, then what is the value of the perquisite we calculate, minus actual interest paid by the employer. How much interest actually he has paid. Example, 1 lakh rupees loan. SBI is charging interest at 10%. At 10%. So on 1 lakh rupees, 10%, 10,000 rupees is the value of the perquisite, interest free loan. But the employee is paying 5% rate of interest, 5,000. 1 lakh 5%, 5,000. So 10,000 minus 5,000, 5,000 is the value of the perquisite. So in this video I have explained you the other perquisite like concession in the matter of rent-free accommodation. Then we have discussed about insurance premium paid by the employer. Then any personal obligation met by the employer. Then interest-free loan or concession in the interest rate. So these provisions you have to remember while doing the problem, right? So we'll continue this in the next video, the other provisions, then we'll start the problems on valuing the perquisite.